Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 109 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. I'm your host, Oke, and today I've got another bumper episode for your listening pleasure, covering all the games that took place over the past 7 days involving our players in their club sides. And then also, I'll be touching on a few things to do with the Nigerian national team, both on the men's side, where we'll be touching on the world rankings, and on the women's side, where they had a friendly game against France on Saturday. So without any further ado, I wanted to start with Nigeria's FIFA ranking and just stressing the importance of this. So in case you did not know, last week, FIFA released the world rankings for December, and Nigeria has dropped from 36th place in the world to 44th in the world, and also dropped from 4th in Africa to 5th in Africa. This is no surprise, of course, considering we lost to Rwanda in our home, and we drew against Benin, needing a Osimhen equalizer in the last 10 minutes. I mean, when you're getting these kind of results against teams that are ranked 100 plus in the world, you only have yourselves to blame. I just wanted to call this out because I keep saying it, and I feel like the NFF don't know the importance of world rankings. Or maybe Gusau is just dumb. Forgive me. I don't know what he's doing there. When you think about Nigeria and the importance of the world rankings, when you think about pop placements for tournaments, pop placements for qualifiers, Nigeria, we're lucky. We usually always end up being in the top 6 on the continent, which helps us to usually be a top seed. But we've seen instances like, for example, in the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations when we played Egypt. We played Egypt simply because our ranking was too low. So Egypt was in pot 1 and the whole Nigeria was in pot 2. So you have to blame yourself. And these things are so important, and I don't know why they don't think about it. Nigerians love the Premier League more than any other league. In the Premier League, if a player of Nigerian descent wants to sign for a Premier League club, if their team or their country, their nationality is one of the top 50 ranked in the world, it is pretty much an automatic pass for them to get a work permit, irrespective of if they play for the national team or not. There are instances where they also look into the fact that you played 75% of your national team's games over the past 2 years when they're looking at registration to come to the Premier League. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know right now, Nigeria, our pool of players in the Premier League is not necessarily the best. Yes, Olatunji, Nottingham Forest are doing well, but our players are playing for Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Leicester, and Southampton. With all due respect, it's nothing like Serie where you can see the kind of teams that our players turn out for. So these are the effects of these kind of decisions, and I don't understand. We were AFCON finalists in February, literally the beginning of February, and now we don't have a coach. We don't know if Eguavo is interim because they don't know anything about clear communication or even PR. We're not sure if they're going to hire a new coach. They never told us what was the follow-up from Labadia's situation. We qualified for the next AFCON, thankfully, due to help from CAF and the fact that we had some really bummy teams in our group, Benin and Rwanda. Meanwhile, these same teams, at the moment, they're in a World Cup qualifying group and we're 5th out of 6th in World Cup qualifying. We have not won a game in 4 games in the whole World Cup qualifying. Struggling to beat Libya. Remember, even the last international break before November, if not for Dele-Bashiru scoring a goal in the last 10 minutes, we will not have beaten Libya. So that means when you really look at the way we've been playing over the past 3 months, apart from that 3-0 win over Benin, well, Osimhen scored, we've literally been struggling to beat minnows on the continent. Drew and lost to Rwanda. We won once again against Benin, but we drew to them as well. So I don't really know, man. After the AFCON, Nigeria was 28th in the world, just to give you context. So now we're 44th. That's a drop of 16 places. We were 3rd in Africa. How have we not been able to build on the momentum of AFCON finals? And we've literally gone on to have a very shocking year. This is the same year where there's Ndidi George Wahala, Osimhen Wahala. We have not seen anything go right for the Super Eagles since AFCON. Thank God we qualify for this next AFCON in December next year. But nobody can stand here with confidence and tell you that they're sure about how the Super Eagles are going to perform through 2025 when we have crucial World Cup qualifiers and an AFCON to play in December in Morocco. So, it is what it is. But now to be ending the year as the 44th best team in the world, a team that should be in the top 20. For context, Morocco are now 13th in the world, though. Our mates, they don't have 2 heads, as we like to say in Nigeria. I don't know what the NFF are doing when they go on all these CAF excursions and see how the North African teams are setting up their teams for success, or Senegal or Ivory Coast. I even saw somebody visiting Ivory Coast on Instagram and wrote, Nigeria, wake up, or your juniors have become your senior. We like saying Giant of Africa, but where is the proof in the pudding? Nigeria cannot even host AFCON, if we're being honest. We haven't hosted it since year 2000. Anybody that is literally like, I don't know, 25 and under has never seen Nigeria host AFCON. And if we're being honest, can we host it? Not right now. So let's just be focusing, Sha, and just be seeing what's happening. But to be 5th in Africa and 44th in the world, it's not good enough, in my opinion, considering the talent we have. But I just want to call it out because now you can see the direct correlation of nonsense football. As I said in one of my previous podcasts, thankfully we don't have to think about Nigeria national team till March. So we'll go again, and hopefully the NFF will somehow see sense, or at least employ people that actually have the competence and expertise to run these things, so that we can bear the fruit of our labor and see the joy that the national team can give us. So I just wanted to touch on that part. Anyway, back to the usual program and talking about player review, starting with the Premier League as usual. Alex Iwobi played 86 minutes over the weekend. He got 2 goal contributions in 2 games. While Bassey played 90 minutes as Fulham drew 1-1 against Tottenham yesterday. Iwobi was very unlucky because he actually hit the post as well, so he could have easily even scored in this game. But his assist was really, really good. Caught the ball back for Tom Kenny, who smashed in a great effort with his left foot from just outside the box into the back of the net. So really, really good game for the Fulham boys. The good thing about this week is we have a lot of football to watch. Like literally, the Premier League continues tomorrow. We've got midweek games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the Prem. So we're going to see our boys back in action on Thursday. Fulham play Brighton at home on Thursday. That's 8:30 p.m. Kickoff time in Nigeria, 7:30 p.m. kickoff time in the UK. Although I wanted to call out that Bassey he almost made a very, very big error initially, just passing out from the back, but not really looking properly at who's in front of him or sensing danger. But then after Fulham play Brighton on Thursday, they would then host Arsenal at Craven Cottage on Sunday. 3 p.m. Nigeria time, 2 p.m. UK time. So I'm really looking forward to that game. But I'm hoping that our Highland boys, Iwobi, Smith Rowe, and Rhys Nelson, they can calm down for a bit and allow us now in that game. Because, man, the way Liverpool are flying, boy, oh boy. It's going to be tough to catch up to those guys in Anfield. Moving on to Nottingham Forest. Aina had another exceptional game. If you play FPL, you notice even the 3rd highest scoring defender on the game. He had bonus points, 3 bonus points yet again. He played 90 minutes. Tyrone when he was on a new sub. Nottingham Forest got a clean sheet against Ipswich Town on Saturday at home. So really, really fantastic performance from Aina. I've told you guys from the start of the season, this guy is a top 6 player. So the good thing is Nottingham Forest are 6th and they continue to do really, really well. So really, really good for them to beat Ipswich. And now you can kind of say they have a bit of a free hit because on Wednesday, they play Manchester City away at the Etihad. From what we've seen about Man City, yes, they've lost their last 4 Prem games. But it's still Man City, and you expect them to rise at some point. So let's see if it happens. But the good thing for Nottingham Forest is they're in a very cushy position, and it definitely looks like they will spend the majority of this season challenging for European places if things continue to go the way they're going. After they play Man City away, they would then go to Old Trafford on Saturday to play Manchester United in the late Saturday kickoff. So look out for that game, and I'm sure Nottingham Forest have something interesting up their sleeve. So let's see how that goes. As for Wilfred Ndidi, he played 90 minutes in Leicester's 4-1 loss to Brentford on Saturday. This is really, really bad performance from Leicester overall. But the good thing for them is their new coach has been announced as Ruud van Nistelrooy, the Manchester United legend. If people listen to the podcast are a bit too young and we're not there, I know because I'm an Arsenal fan and Thierry Henry was that guy, yeah. But let me know that Ruud van Nistelrooy was that guy. Like, he was that guy. Like, Van Nistelrooy, he used to go machine for machine with Henry, like top goal scorer every year. And I feel like sometimes Van Nistelrooy's legend is not praised enough for how great it was. Maybe because he was only in the Prem for, I think, 5 seasons. He even went to Real Madrid, went there for 1 year, was the top scorer in La Liga, even though they didn't win the league. But I'm telling you, this guy is a monumental bagsman, and I'm hoping that the inspiration of his playing career, and he's also done well as a coach in the Netherlands. I think he was PSV's coach for a bit, or was it Feyenoord? One of them. And he did quite well. So hopefully he can inspire the Leicester boys, because boy do they need it. They're just above the relegation zone right now in 16th. And next up for them, they play West Ham United at home on Tuesday. So that's tomorrow. 8:15 p.m. kickoff in the UK, 9:15 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. So look out for that game. If you've been watching West Ham are dog shit. I'm sorry, man. They're so surprising because they went to Newcastle and beat Newcastle, but then look how my Arsenal just like slapped them up on Saturday. Like, what a performance. So I'm hoping that Ndidi and Leicester boys can get a result out of this performance, because on Sunday they then have to go to play Brighton at home. So that's going to be a tough game. As for Aribo, he came off the bench to play 24 minutes. Southampton's 1-1 draw against Brighton on Friday. Southampton are very unlucky not to win this game, it must be said, and it was played at the Amex Stadium. Cameron scored the second goal for Southampton, but was disallowed for offside from Adam Armstrong. I implore you to watch that goal. There's something seriously wrong with VAR, and I'm telling you, the refs in the Prem. But let me just leave it at that. Onuachu missed the game because of his injury, but as I said, we know his legend grew after the Liverpool game. So let's monitor when he can return, and hopefully he can continue to build a name for himself in the Prem. Next up for the Southampton boys, they host Chelsea on Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. in Nigeria. And then they follow up that game away against Aston Villa on Saturday in one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. So very, very tough games for Southampton, but they're showing signs of life. And to be honest, they can feel very, very aggrieved by the way some of the results have gone their way in recent games. Remember, they were unlucky to lose to Liverpool as well over the weekend. Last week. So it's an interesting one, but at least our players are beginning to play, and a lot of them are getting minutes, apart from Taiwo Awoniyi. So TBD. Other results that did not involve Nigerian players over the weekend. We saw Wolverhampton lose 4-2 at home to Bournemouth. Shocking performance from Wolverhampton. I'm telling you, Bournemouth got 3 penalties, and 2 of those penalties were literally goalkeeping errors. It was shocking stuff, I'm telling you. Gary O'Neill cannot even legislate for that kind of rubbish from his team, I'm telling you. As for Crystal Palace, they drew 1-1 at home against Newcastle. They got a last-minute equalizer from Daniel Munoz. Good to see him finally playing well, because he was really good last year, but he struggled a lot this year. As I said earlier, Arsenal, we thrashed West Ham 5-2. West Ham were even lucky to get those 2 goals. Wan-Bissaka's finish was good, but that free kick that Emerson Palmieri scored, let's be honest, it was not a free kick in the first place. But Arsenal were looking good, and hopefully we kick up the momentum when we play Manchester United on Wednesday. Chelsea looked very, very good yesterday, it must be said. They thrashed Aston Villa 3-0. Solid performance. Cole Palmer looked really good in that game. Nicholas Jackson, man, the conversation has to be had. He's looking fantastic. Also, yesterday, we saw Tottenham do what Tottenham do. After they beat Man City 4-0 last week, what did they do? They drew 1-1 against Fulham at home. So that's just very Spursy, and no surprise there. Man United, signs of life. Ruben Amorim's first home game in the Premier League at Old Trafford, and they thrashed Everton 4-0. Marcus Rashford looks like he's getting back the belief. He scored 2 goals in this game. Amad Diallo was really, really good in this game. Bruno Fernandes got 2 assists too. Amad Diallo got 2 assists. And we saw Josh Rozerski score 2 goals. This is someone that looked like he could not score any goal whatsoever. So Amorim is cooking, at least so far. But it must be said, Everton are really, really terrible opposition. And of course, when they come to the Emirates, they'll come and jam a much bigger machine, so to speak. And then in the game of the weekend, Liverpool, oh my God. As much as I hate to say it, man, they looked absolutely fantastic against Man City. They played them off the park. Liverpool beat Man City 2-0. Fantastic game. Gakpo scored, Salah scored a pen, but honestly, it could have been 5-6-0. That's how terrible Man City were. We're experiencing, could you say end times? Hopefully not, but the things we're seeing from Man City right now, no wins literally since October. They're literally, in the Champions League the other day, they were 3-0 up after 75 minutes and conceded 3-3. They've literally lost their last 3 Premier League games. When last did we see Pep Guardiola have a team in 5th position in the Premier League or in any league? If you look at their last results, they have just been losing. They've become specialists in L's. It's disgusting. They've lost 4 straight Premier League games. Who would have thought that this would be Pep? In fact, before they started their losses, they beat Southampton 1-0. They scraped the 1-0 win over Southampton, beat Wolverhampton 2-1. So it's not like they've been putting up fantastic performances. A lot of their wins before this horrible run they've been on were 1-goal wins, which you could say to an extent was a bit lucky. But long may it continue, man. Let Arsenal and Liverpool battle for the title. But I'm sure Pep will fix up eventually. As for the games to look forward to over the midweek, like I said, there's football galore, man. Football bonanza. Tomorrow, we've got 2 games. Ipswich Town hosts Crystal Palace and Leicester City hosts West Ham at the King Power Stadium. On Wednesday, we'll see the bulk of the midweek games go on. Southampton hosts Chelsea. Manchester City hosts Nottingham Forest. Newcastle hosts Liverpool at St. James's Park. That should be a tasty, tasty game. And thankfully, they've staggered some of the kickoffs. Everton hosts Wolverhampton on Wednesday as well. And then the big one, Arsenal play Manchester United at the Emirates. Whether you like it or not, this is the OG Premier League fixture. When you think about what happened in the first 10 years of the Premier League, this is the OG game. No matter what, no matter where the teams are, it's always going to be a deadly big game. And boy, am I excited, because we also just got the news that the 3rd round FA Cup draw was done earlier today. And Arsenal will be hosting Manchester United at the Emirates again in January. So let's just say this is part A let's just give them the bashing, get our 3 points, and then we come back in January. They'll come and visit us again from Manchester, and then we'll dump them out of the FA Cup. Because boy, Arsenal, I want us to win every trophy available. FA Cup or League Cup or Champions League or Premier League. Let's shall be moving. Let's be going. And then on Thursday, we've got 3 games to end. I mean, no, there's one more game on Wednesday. Aston Villa hosts Brentford. And then to round up the midweek games on Thursday, we've got Fulham playing Brighton at Craven Cottage, and then Bournemouth hosts Tottenham. And maybe we'll see Dominic Solanke recover from his flu to play this game against Bournemouth on Thursday. So how does the table look? Liverpool are the runaway leaders right now. After 13 games, they have 11 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. That draw was against Arsenal, where Salah scored an equalizer with 10 minutes to go, and they lost to Nottingham Forest. But they've been the best team in the league, like it's as simple as that, 34 points. After that, you've got Arsenal and Chelsea in second and third with 25 points, with pretty much an exactly identical record. 7 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses each, 26 goals scored, 14 goals conceded each, plus 12 goal difference. So let's see how the rest of the season goes, at least between now and December. Brighton are in 4th. They're joint 4th with Man City, but they have a better goal difference by 2. Who would have thought Man City would have a plus 3 goal difference? To tell you how strange things are right now, Man United, who ended without a positive goal difference last year, currently have a better goal difference than Man City. That's how shocking Man City have been so far this season. It's atrocious. But also, we must praise Nottingham Forest because they've been doing really, really well. So shout out to Nottingham Forest and their teams. So that's it in terms of the top 6. The rest, Tottenham at 7th, Man United at 9th, Newcastle and Villa at 11th and 12th. Unai Emery, Arsenal fans, we told you about the Unai Emery experience. He who does not hear must fail. Winless in like 8 games. And this is how Unai Emery was doing at Arsenal that second season. So we'll be here to observe. That's all I'll say. And leave it at that. So that's it in terms of the Premier League. In the Championship, Josh Maja played 80 minutes. West Brom drew 0-0 against Sunderland on Tuesday. He then played 85 minutes in a 1-1 draw against Preston on Saturday. So although his rival for top goal scorer, Borja Science, scored 4 goals last week for Norwich. So now Maja's 5 goals behind Borja Science, but he still has 10 goals. Next up for him, he plays Sheffield United at home on Sunday. That's a tough game because Sheffield United are top of the league. West Brom are still in with the chance of promotion or getting a chance to go into the playoffs, but it's still very early days, so long may they continue. I'm not going to talk about Luton, man. Their team is shocking. They're 19th. They need to rest in peace. In Serie A, Adebayo Lookman was on the bench as Atalanta ran riot in the Champions League on Tuesday, beating Young Boys 6-1. Charles De Ketelaere was unbelievable in this game. I think he had 4 or 5 goal contributions in this game. At the moment, he's currently playing right now. I'm literally looking at the match in front of me. Atalanta are playing Roma away at the Stadio Olimpico. He's starting the game. It's currently 0-0 after 22 minutes. So fingers crossed that he can, get on the goals and really drag his team because, hey, Atalanta are definitely in the title race. As if that's not fun enough, on Friday, Atalanta will host AC Milan at home on Friday. So we'll see, this is 8:45 p.m. in Nigeria. So we're going to see Lookman play against Chukwueze. So look out for that one. Speaking of Chukwueze, he did play 90 minutes in the Champions League last week as AC Milan beat Slovan Bratislava 3-2. Very unconvincing game, to be honest. But then over the weekend, thankfully, Milan continued their winning streak. He only came on for the final 15 minutes, but they beat Empoli 3-0. Next up for Chukwueze, they'll be playing in the Coppa Italia tomorrow against Sassuolo at home. And then, of course, the Atalanta game on Friday. Speaking of teams, Dele-Bashiru was on the bench for Lazio in their Europa League game on Thursday. But the good news is on Sunday, he finally started a game. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow, Baroni, what did Fisayo do to make you happy? Unfortunately, though, he only played 45 minutes and he was taken off at halftime as Lazio lost 3-1 to Parma. So not a good result for their title chances, but there's still enough time, in the season, and they're definitely going to be there or thereabouts in terms of the season. Speaking of games, Lookman just scored a goal, but it was offside, clearly. Who else in Serie A? Okoye played 90 minutes, made 2 saves, but Udinese lost 2-0 to Genoa on Sunday. To be fair, he wasn't helped. One of his teammates got a red card in the first 20 minutes, so he was always going to struggle in this game, honestly. But shout out to Maduka for continuing to start, and Udinese are 9th, which is a good position for them in Serie A. Next up for them, they play Monza away on Monday, so I'm sure they'll be looking to get back to winning ways. In the Bundesliga, while Victor Boniface is still injured, Nathan Tella continues to play games. He came off the bench to play 22 minutes in Leverkusen's 5-0 win over Salzburg in the Champions League on Tuesday. He then came off the bench to play 11 minutes in Leverkusen's 2-1 win over Union Berlin on Saturday. Next Next up for Bayer Leverkusen, they got a big game tomorrow in the DFB Pokal, which is basically the German Cup. They are playing Bayern Munich away at the Allianz Arena, so that's going to be a tough game. 8:45 p.m. in Nigeria. And then on Saturday, they'll play St. Pauli at home on Saturday in the Bundesliga, so you'd expect them to win that game. As for Kevin Akpoguma, he played 90 minutes. Hoffenheim's 3-0 loss against Braga in the Europa Conference League on Thursday. He then played 90 minutes again as Hoffenheim lost 2-0 to Mainz. This is a classic case of a team that doesn't have the resources, really struggling to juggle European football with their domestic aspirations, and they're just struggling. You know, at least Akpoguma is playing, but his team's not doing well right now. They're 14th in the league, and there's only 18 teams in the league, so it doesn't take a genius to work out the mathematics, but hopefully they can improve. Next up for them, they play Wolfsburg on Wednesday in the DFB Pokal. But Wolfsburg just thrashed Leipzig 5-1 away over the weekend. So let's see how that game goes. And then over the weekend in the Bundesliga, Hoffenheim will play Freiburg at home on Sunday. As for Frank Onyeka, his Olberg team beat Bochum on Saturday. He played 90 minutes as he always does. They will also be in action in the DFB Pokal on Wednesday. They play Karlsruhe, which is a Division 2 team. And then they go away to Eintracht Frankfurt on Saturday in the league. That's a tough game. Eintracht Frankfurt are the surprise team in the Bundesliga this year. They've always been good, you know, 1st to 7th. But this year they're 2nd, and they look like the only team that may likely challenge Bayern Munich for that title at the moment. Omar Mamouche is going crazy, you know, the Egyptian striker / winger. Bagging in goals, bagging in assists, and he continues to play really well. And I know he scored another 2 goals over the weekend, so that's going to be a tough game for Onyeka, but we wish him all the best. In La Liga, Cristianos Uche played 20 minutes for Getafe in their 3-0 win over Manises in the Copa del Rey over the week. I think that was last week, Wednesday. But then on Sunday, he came on in the second half, but he had to be taken off in the 66th minute, which what looked like a hamstring injury as Getafe lost 2-0 to Real Madrid. Mbappe scored a very good goal in this game as well. So we wish Cristianos Uche a quick recovery. Let's see how long he'll be out for. But next up for Getafe, they play Orihuela away on Thursday in Copa del Rey. And then in La Liga, they will play Espanyol at home on Monday night. So next week, Monday. As for Kelechi Iheanacho, he will be in action tonight. His game has just kicked off, but of course he's on the bench as he always is. Isaac Romero starts in the game. So let's see if he gets any minutes in that game. They're playing Osasuna at home right now at Sanchez Pizjuan. So you'd hope that they will win that game. Next up for them, though, they play UI Olot away on Thursday in the Copa del Rey, so would expect Iheanacho to at least get some minutes in that game if he doesn't play today. But then in the league, next week, Sunday, they play Atletico Madrid away. Atletico, they just thrashed their opponents 5-0 over the weekend, and Julian Alvarez looked like he's catching life. Even Simeone's youngest child, Giuliano Simeone, have you seen the way he's been balling? So that's going to be a tough game for Sevilla. So let them just try and win tonight as they're playing Osasuna right now. And then finally in La Liga, Omar Sadiq played 3 minutes in Real Sociedad's 2-0 win over Ajax in the Europa League on Thursday. He just came off the bench for slave minutes. No, slave is the wrong word. Paltry minutes, excuse my French. And then on Sunday, he came on for the final 19 minutes as Real Sociedad beat Real Betis 2-0. So good to see them in winning ways. They're currently 9th in the league. They will also be in action in Copa del Rey on Thursday against Conquense away. You'd hope that Omar Sadiq can start this game at least. But then in La Liga, they play Leganés away on Sunday, and he will definitely start from the bench. And finally, in the top 5 leagues, starting with League 1, Jorge Kenna was a late sub for Monaco in the Champions League on Wednesday as they lost 3-2 to Benfica. That was a very tough loss because Monaco played really well, but Di Maria looked really inspired for Benfica in this game. And then also they lost 2-1 to Marseille on, I think this was on Saturday night. So really bad loss because they were initially 2nd, but now they're 3rd in the league. But it's okay. They're still doing really well for what you'd expect from Monaco in their league. Next up for them, they play Toulouse at home on Saturday. It will be a 5 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. As for Osimhen, he played 82 minutes for Nantes in their 1-1 draw against PSG. Really good performance from him. I think he might have even got the assist for Nantes' goal, but I'm not sure. But next up for them, they play Rennes at home on Sunday. That's going to be a tough game because Rennes just smashed their opponents 4 or 5-0 over the weekend. Hamza Tijani Raw, you know, one of my new favorites right now. Lens are currently 7th in Ligue 1. He came off the bench to play 12 minutes as they beat Reims 2-0 on Friday night. And then his next game is against Montpellier at home on Sunday. So look out for that one. That'll be a 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. As for Dele-Bashiru, he was on the bench as Auxerre lost 2-0 to Toulouse on Sunday. Not sure why I was on the bench because he starts all their games. But next up for them, they play PSG at home this Friday. So look out for that game. And let's see how Dele-Bashiru performs against the best team in France. As for Gift Urban, He was not in the squad for any of their games, man. Lyon beat Karabakh 4-1. They beat Nice over the weekend. He's not playing. He's not in the squad. I'm not sure what's happening there, but if I was him, me and his agent should be on the phone right now, and they should be plotting their exit in January because he needs to play some games. He definitely will not feature against Angers away on Saturday, but you never know. I'm not in Lyon, so we cannot tell, but it's looking very unlikely. Victor Rapko too was not in the squad for Nice in their last 2 games, but it might be injury, and we know he's a bit of a fringe player at the moment, let's put it that way. And Akwa Adams is still injured from Montpellier, so we wish him a speedy recovery. So that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues in Europe. So moving on to the non-top 5 leagues as usual, and I've decided that I always start with the Turkish league because star player did there big. Let's not deceive ourselves. So Victor Osimhen played 90 minutes, scored a goal and got a yellow card as Galatasaray drew 1-1 against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League on Thursday. They're still in a very good position for qualification for the knockout round, so all good there. And then on Sunday, he played 90 minutes, got an assist, but he got a yellow card again as Galatasaray drew 2-2 against Eyüpspor. So not the best result, but they have quite significant leads, so it shouldn't affect them too much. Next up for them, they play Sivasspor away on Sunday, so we'd expect Osimhen to be back in on the goals. As for Osayi-Samuel, Fenerbahce are second at the moment. They defeated Slavia Prague in Europa League 2-1 on Thursday, and then they're currently playing Gaziantep right now. Let me just check the scores. Okay, that game has ended. So they beat Gaziantep 3-1. So that's good. They're only 3 points behind Galatasaray now. Edin Dzeko scored as usual. Osayi-Samuel started the game as usual as right back. But interestingly enough, the goal scorer for Gaziantep was David Okereke. So shout out to David Okereke for scoring in that game. Next up for Osayi-Samuel, they play Besiktas away on Saturday. So that's going to be a big game, one of the big Istanbul derbies. As for David Okereke, next up for him, his team will be playing Batman Petrolspor at home on Thursday in the Turkish Cup. I know, quite interesting, a team called Batman. And then on Monday, they play Rizespor at home. So let's see if he can build on his goal that he scored earlier today. And then finally, Anthony Nwakeme was not in the squad for Trabzonspor in a 2-1 loss to Alanyaspor on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Kashim Pasha at home on Friday. But of course, Kenneth Mero has a ligament injury, so he will miss the rest of 2024 and will not play any games for Kashim Pasha. In Portugal, Bruno Yemach played 90 minutes as Boavista drew 0-0 against Nacional on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Farenz at home on Saturday in the league. This will be a 6:30 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. As for Porto and Zedu Sanusi, the good news is he's back from his long-term injury. He was on the bench for Porto's 2-2 draw against Anderlecht on Thursday in the Europa League. And then tonight, Porto play, is it Famalicão? They play Casapia tonight, 8:45. So the game kicks off literally in 15 minutes. And the good news is, or bad news, is that Zedu Sanusi is not in the squad. So they're probably just nursing him back from his injury. So let's see what happens in their next game. I would hopefully expect to see him play when they play Famalicão away on Saturday. So maybe today came a bit too soon for Sanusi. But let's not kid ourselves. Sanusi is very important for Nigeria, man. In fact, forget all the... I know we like to praise him and it's good, but Sanusi is the more accomplished left back. This is someone that plays in the Champions League and has a lot of good contributions for Porto. Yes, he makes some brain-dead decisions sometimes, but all defenders do. So look out for Sanusi, and we're very glad that he's back to, or he's on the way to full fitness. In Belgium, Tolu Arokodare scored a goal yet again as Genk drew 2-2 against St. Truiden on Saturday. He's now the joint top scorer in the Belgian league with Kasper Dolberg and Adriano Bertaccini. All three of those players have 10 goals, so keep up the great work, Tolu Arokodare. Next up for them, they play Standard Liège at home on Wednesday in the Belgian Cup, 8:30 p.m. Nigeria time. And then in the league on Saturday, they play Kotrigic at home. So you'd expect Arokodare to add to his goal tally and the great season that he's having so far this season. As for Rafael Yedika, he played 90 minutes as Club Brugge drew 1-1 against Celtic in the Champions League on Wednesday. They were pretty unlucky to draw 1-1, to be fair. They dominated the first half, but Celtic scored a great equalizer just in the first 10 minutes of the second half. He also played 90 minutes as Club Brugge beat FCV Dende 4-1 on Saturday, so they're firmly second at the moment and firmly in the title race. He will also be in action in the Belgian Cup tomorrow. They play Patro Eden away. And then in the league, they play KV Mechelen away on Saturday. So look out for that one. As for Victor Odo, it was a late substitute for Royal Antwerp in a 2-1 loss to Union Saint-Gilloise on Sunday. And then they'll be playing Kotrigi away on Wednesday in the Belgian Cup. So let's see if he could get a bit more minutes because the Belgian Cup. In the league, they play Sporting Charleroi at home on Sunday. For keen-eyed listeners, you know Sporting Charleroi is the club that rejuvenated Osimhen's career in Europe. So shout out to them. As for Jordan Torunariga, he played 90 minutes ago, yellow card as Ghent lost 2-0 to Lugano on Thursday in the Conference League. So that's not a good sign. And he was suspended for their game against Westerlo on Sunday in the league, which ended 2-2. So we should see him in action on Wednesday when Ghent play Union Saint-Gilloise in the Belgian Cup. And then he should be back in the starting lineup as they play St. Truden at home on Saturday. In Scotland, Cyril Dessers played 21 minutes while Leon Balogun was on a new sub in the bench as Rangers beat Nice 4-1. This was a very, very impressive result by Rangers, must be said, because Nice are one of the better teams in the Europa League and a pretty good team from France. So shout out to him in that game. As for Sunday, Dessers was on the bench while Balogun played 45 minutes as Rangers beat St. Johnstone 1-0. Their league form is in shambles. You know, they're third, as I've said before. But let's see if Dessers could get back in the starting lineup when they play Kilmarnock at home on Wednesday. And then they go away to play Ross County on Sunday. In Czech Republic, Igor Ugbo was on the bench for Slavia Prague's 2-1 loss against Fenerbahce in the Europa League. We know that he came from an injury as well. But the good news is over the weekend, he played 90 minutes as they beat Slovan Liberec 1-0. We should see him in action on Thursday as they play Baník Ostrava away. And then they play Sigma Olomouc away on Sunday in the league. As for Victor Olatunji, he played 30 minutes as Sparta Prague got absolutely spanked by Atletico Madrid 6-0 on Tuesday in the Champions League. But then he played 83 minutes and scored a goal in Sparta Prague's 1-1 draw against Dukla Praha. So them, similar to Dessers and Rangers, in the Czech Republic League, for Sparta Prague to be fourth is not a good sign. They're not playing well at all. Yet again, it's like what I'm saying about these teams that have to juggle Europe and they're not used to it. You can always see that they don't have the squad that's robust enough to handle the pressures of dealing with Europe and domestic football at the same time. So anyway, next up for them, they play Carvin at home on Tuesday tomorrow, and then they play Bohemians at home on Saturday. So we'd expect Olatunji to start both games and add to his goal tally. And then one of the players I really want to call out this week, and he's probably our star boy, Stanley Nwabali. Stanley Nwabali, we know he lost his father recently. May his father so rest in peace. But he's back in action for Chippa United. Initially on Tuesday, he played 90 minutes and made 5 saves as Chippa United drew 1-0 against Supersport United. So he kept a clean sheet. And then on Saturday, he made 6 saves and even saved the penalty as Chippa United beat Magesi FC. So Chippa United will not be in action anytime soon. So they don't have any fixture coming up over the next 7 days. But that's back-to-back clean sheets from Stanley Nwabali. He has his team sitting pretty in 6th place in the PSL. Actually, they're 4th. This is really good. So at the moment, they have 14 points after 9 games. But of course, Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates top the division. They've both won 7 games from their first 8 and occupied the first 2 positions. But for Nwabali's team to be 4th, that's pretty good, man. Where the hell are Kaiser Chiefs? Those bums. 7th. Wow. That's not good enough. But shout out to Stanley Nwabali. You know, you can imagine what he's had to deal with recently. So for him to get 2 clean sheets, save a penalty, and make a lot of great saves for his team is really, really something to be appreciated. And shout out to Stanley, you know, our current rock and wall. He doesn't really let Nigeria down ever. So shout out to him. Ones to watch for this week, as I said, football bonanza, Okbo. There's plenty. Tuesday, tomorrow, Ndidi plays against West Ham, 9:15 p.m. in Nigeria. Nathan Tella's Bayer Leverkusen play Bayern Munich in the DFP Pokal, 8:45 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. On Wednesday, we see Aina and Taiwa when he's Nottingham Forest go to the Etihad Stadium to play Man City, 8:30 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. And then Aribo and Onuachu Southampton host Chelsea, same time, 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. On Thursday, we will see Fulham's Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey play at home against Brighton at Craven Cottage, 8:30 p.m. kickoff as well. And Dele-Bashiru's Lazio will be playing against Napoli in the Coppa Italia, 9 p.m. in Nigeria. Friday, we then see Lookman play against Chukwueze Atlanta versus AC Milan. Atalanta, sorry, not Atlanta. What the hell, Lulu? So that should be a very good game. And then Gabriel shows Auxerre host PSG, which should be a tasty clash on Friday night. And then over the weekend on Saturday, we'll see Olaino and Taiwa Awoni then go to Old Trafford, 6:30 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria to play Manchester United. Aribo and Onuachu Southampton go away to Villa Park to play Aston Villa. So that should be an interesting game considering Aston Villa's current form. As for Frank Onyeka, he will be going away to play Eintracht Frankfurt and facing the Mamouche Magic Spell. So that should be a very tough game, but hopefully he could play really well in that one. And then Osayi-Samuel's Fenerbahce will be playing away against Besiktas in one of the big Istanbul derbies, 5 p.m. in Nigeria. And then Sunday, a lot of games to look forward to. Iwobi and Calvin Bassey host Arsenal at Craven Cottage, 3 p.m. Nigeria time. That should be a great game. Wilfred Ndidi's Leicester host Brighton, 3 p.m. as well. And then Kelechi Iheanacho Sevilla go away to Atletico Madrid in the night time. That'll be a 9 p.m. game. Hamza Aljediri's Lens, if he's selected, will play Montpellier. So if Akko Adams is fit, we'll see him in action in that game, 3 p.m. And then Dele-Bashiru's Lazio go away to Napoli. So there's a lot of top-of-the-table clashes in Serie happening over the next 7 days, so which should help move the pretenders from the real, challengers in terms of the title race in Serie, which looks to be the most exciting in Europe so far this season. And then finally, Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray will go away against Sivasspor, 2 p.m. Nigeria time on Sunday. Starboy of the week, bronze medal. I want to give it bronze medal to Victor Osimhen. He scored 1 goal in the Europa League on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar, and then he got an assist in Galatasaray's 2-2 draw against Eyüpspor over the weekend. Second place with the silver medal, I'll give it to Tolu Arokodare. When you score your 10th goal of the league season, and December has just started, Uche has just started, joint top goal scorer, 10 goals for the season. Your team are flying high, they're top of the league, and you continue to put in great performances after great performances. You deserve a shout out. Shout out to you, Tolu Arokodare. And gold medal, as I already teased earlier, Stanley Nwabali. It's not every day we give gold medals to defenders or goalkeepers, but shout out to you, Stanley Nwabali. 2 clean sheets on the bounce in his return to club football after losing his father. So mentally, you can imagine how painful that must be, and having to really pull himself out of the bag to play those games. And then also saving a penalty. We know Nwabali is a penalty specialist, and he continues to show up for his team. So long may it continue. So Stanley Nwabali, you are my starboy of the week. In Nigerian news, the Super Falcons played a friendly game against France on Saturday. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1, but we put in a good effort. Eugene Le Sommet, season striker for France, opened the scoring in the 29th minute. Amel Madri scored in the 37th minute. Ifeoma Onumonu scored 1 for Nigeria just before halftime. Onumonu is one of our better players. We know she plays in the WSL in America. Not the WSL, the NWSL, in America. So really good to see there. Unfortunately, Osinachi Ohale got a red card literally in the last play of the game. 97 minutes, so stoppage time. But good effort from the national team. And I know I like to abuse NFF, but fair play to them for organizing a friendly against France. That's at least good exposure, and we should be playing these kind of teams, which we love to see. So long may it continue. And I don't believe the Super Falcons have any other games over the international break right now. They will next focus is on the African women's AFCON, which takes place next year. But so far, so good from the women, and long may they continue to do well. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. 109 episodes. That's please continue to spread the word. YouTube, you've run it up for me. I really, really appreciate. Please like, share, subscribe, and spread the word if you know anybody who'll be interested in this type of content. I'm always open to feedback as well. I appreciate every single listener. If you like what you hear, please give us a review on any of the DSP channels where you support, or subscribe, and also click the bell so you can get a notification whenever we drop an episode on YouTube. The next episode of this podcast, I will be doing it from Nigeria, which I'm looking forward to. So it'll be nice to be back home and to do the podcast from there. So looking forward to it. But enjoy the football this week. And until next time, take care. I'll be yours, Oluoke. Enjoy the football. And by God's grace, Arsenal will beat Manchester United on Wednesday. Take care. Peace out. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigerian, they ever carry last.